This is a reminder that the discussion today will include forward-looking statements within the meaning of applicable securities legislation. These statements are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. Such statements involve certain risks, assumptions, and uncertainties, which may cause our actual or future results and performance to be materially different from those expressed or implied in these statements. The risks and uncertainties that could cause our results to differ materially from our current expectations include, but are not limited to, those detailed in our SEC filings, including our Form 10-K and our latest Form 10-Q.
Welcome to 2024 SES Battery World. This is our fourth year of hosting Battery World, and we have a lot of exciting updates. In the past few years, we focused mainly on lithium-metal batteries for drones applications, EV, and urban air mobility, UAM. And we were the world's first to enter automotive A samples and B samples, joint development with major global car makers. And we successfully passed several industry safety tests, and we demonstrated that these lithium metal cells can deliver high energy density over a wide temperature range and under high rates. And you can actually find more data and specification on our website. But today, I want to talk about a new market, a new opportunity for SES, a market that is 10 times bigger than EV and is growing faster. I'm talking about energy storage. We live in a new industrial re-revolution, and especially for energy transition and with the rising demand in renewable generation and AI compute. Unlike the previous industrial revolutions where we try to find new sources of energy, now it's about how to produce, distribute, consume, and most importantly, store energy. So this requires new material discovery, a new digital chemistry revolution, and also a new super intelligent battery management. Renewable generations like solar and wind are intermittent, and they require a battery for storage when the sun doesn't shine and when the wind doesn't blow. And we all understand this. So what's wrong with this picture? So it turns out that most of the renewable generations like solar and wind last more than 20 years. But the battery storage lasts less than 10 years. So we need to make the battery storage last longer to match the lifetime of the renewable generation. Most of the batteries used for storage are very mature lithium-ion batteries. So why do they die after 10 years? There are several factors. One of them turns out that, especially in lithium-ion batteries, after long cycle life and in very cold places, and as many of these data centers are in very cold places for cooling and low-cost electricity, there is lithium plating on the anode. Basically a buildup of mossy lithium in the battery, and then that causes the battery to fade, to die, and even sometimes to catch on fire. So how do we solve this lithium plating issue in lithium-ion? It turns out that we have solved it. We solved it in lithium metal. We solved lithium plating issue in lithium metal batteries, which is what we have been doing for more than 10 years. Our core competence has been to develop an electrolyte that can mitigate lithium plating in lithium metal. And then we demonstrated that our electrolyte can significantly retard the kinetics of mossy lithium formation in lithium metal batteries. And it turns out that the lithium plating mechanism in lithium ion and lithium metal are very similar. So we can actually apply the electrolyte that we developed for lithium metal to address lithium plating for lithium ion to also address the same lithium plating issue and to improve the cycle life of lithium ion batteries. In a way, there is a lithium metal battery in every lithium ion battery. This is a very powerful realization, and this fundamental mechanism allows us to disrupt the entire lithium ion market, in particular, energy storage. Energy storage market is a very mature market and in many cases dominated by several traditional players. from materials to cells, storage, and the final grid or the AI compute centers. And we have a chance to disrupt this market with our 3 AI solutions. So the first one is AI for science. We can extend the cycle life of these lithium-ion batteries by developing a new electrolyte that can address lithium plating challenge. AI for manufacturing. We can detect manufacturing defects through improved quality management. And AI for safety. We can extend the overall cycle life by precisely monitoring and managing the battery state of charge, state of health, and SOX. This realization is really powerful, and then this really changed everything for us. And above the surface are these lithium-ion and lithium-metal batteries. It could be an NCM cathode with silicon graphite anode, or LFP cathode with graphite anode, or LFP cathode with lithium metal anode, or NCM cathode with lithium metal anode. But underneath the surface, all these lithium-ion and lithium metal batteries share a common fundamental mechanism, and that is lithium plating. And at even more fundamental levels, there are these 3 AI solutions: AI for manufacturing, AI for safety, and then AI for science. Our customers are so impressed by how well our AI solutions work, they actually ask us to apply these AI solutions to all batteries. So we said, absolutely. Of course, we're going to apply these AI solutions to all batteries. First, in AI for science, we start with a human scientist, and he's thinking of a creative idea, for example, a new molecule. But this discovery process is often based on luck. And the size of the database that this human scientist can process is often limited to about 1,000. And then we synthesize the molecules at our electrolyte foundry. And then we formulate electrolyte. And then we test them in batteries. So A sample, B sample, C sample, and all the way through commercial production. In AI, we can process a much larger database. And I'm talking about the entire universe of small molecules, 10 to the 11th. The entire collection of papers and books about material science, physics, and chemistry, and our entire internal data. And once we map all these data, we take the luck out of discovery process. And all these data are then used to train our AI models. And then the best candidates are synthesized at our electrolyte foundry and tested in batteries the very same way as human-developed candidates. So we have a complete end-to-end full-stack capability in material discovery for batteries. This is very exciting. And some may think that we are just using AI as a tool to help human scientists. While that may be true for now, but in fact, we are leveraging human scientists as a tool to train our superintelligent AI agent. And this large number, 10 to the 11th, happens to be both the entire human population ever lived on Earth and also the entire universe of small molecules that could be used for batteries. So the human universe and the molecular universe. For human universe, we already have a very large database of all the knowledge, the books, the social media, basically everything about everyone in history. And then we're using this to develop artificial general intelligence, AGI. For molecular universe, this equivalent database does not exist, and then we need to build it. So we need to compute all the physical and chemical properties of these molecules. And then this will be key to the development of molecular universe. And these properties that we're interested in computing include single molecule level energy information and also solution level to understand the interactions of molecules. And also at the interface between electrolyte and electrodes, cathodes and anodes, trying to understand lithium plating on anode, for example. Let's take a single molecule density function theory, DFT, as an example. And say we have a modest 500 GPU or CPU equivalent. And let's see how much time it would take for us to do the compute. If we don't use AI, just brute force high performance computing on the entire molecular universe, 10 to the 11th, with just CPU, it would take more than 8,000 years. And then with older GPU, Ampere A100, and GPU accelerated software, it would take more than 1,000 years. And once we have the newer Hopper H100, then that number becomes more than 500 years. And then if we introduce AI, first of all, we only need to map 1% of the molecular universe and then rely on AI to predict the rest. So we go from 10 to the 11th to 10 to the 9th. And then with the latest AI software, we can do that in 6 months. And then once we optimize this AI software, it only takes 2 months. So we go from more than 8,000 years to just 2 months to do all the single molecule DFT. This is insane. This is astonishing speed up. And we're witnessing the combined power of high performance computing and also AI. This is why we're able to build databases that are so large, so comprehensive that previously were not possible. And this is why now we're able to map the entire molecular universe. And this is why we're experiencing this digital chemistry revolution. So this is a very powerful tool. Let's take a look at one example. So in this example, we map 10 to the 5th molecules. Now remember, the entire molecular universe is 10 to the 11th. So this is 1/1,000,000th of the molecular universe that we map. And we introduce positive signals, including 38 from the public and 2 from internal. And the AI model was able to produce several thousand candidates, some of which we synthesized and tested at our electric foundry. And then we tested these in batteries, lithium-metal cells. And if we look at their cycle life, this gray is the best public benchmark. And the red is the best electrolyte developed by our human scientist. And the blue is the best electrolyte recommended by our AI agent. And it shows a 20% improvement in cycle life. Now remember, this is only after having mapped 1/1,000,000th of the entire molecular universe. And if we can map a bigger part of the molecular universe, then we are confident that we will see even bigger improvements in performance. In manufacturing, AI is also very powerful, and AI can be used to help improve quality management. Traditional quality management is a pyramid. At the bottom, you run tests on all cells. At the top, you run quality scans on very selective few. And AI for manufacturing is like an inverted pyramid. And in fact, the less quality scans that you do, the bigger the impact of AI. And then if we take CT as one example, most battery manufacturers only run CT scans for less than 5% of the cells. That means for the 5% of the cells, we have data, and then we can see if they have defects or not. But it also means for the other 95% of the cells, we don't have data, and then we have no way of knowing if they have defects or not. And we can train this AI model with the 5% cells that we have data so that we make prediction on the other 95% cells that we do not have data. This is very powerful, and then this allows us to lower costs and improve quality and capture defects that would have escaped in our quality management process. In AI for safety, we can integrate AI models with physics-based battery management systems, BMS. And here's one example. Here's a cell that actually had an incident. And then 2 physics-based models were not able to predict the incident. 2 other physics-based models were able to predict the incidents, but then they were way too early. And our AI-based model not only was able to predict the incident 20 cycles before it actually happened, it reinforced the prediction in subsequent cycles. So this is very powerful. And then this only shows current and voltage, but we can add additional parameters into this: temperature, pressure, thickness, swelling, and then AI for safety is very powerful at making predictions on the battery health. And then we also found out that once we integrate manufacturing data with safety data, we can predict 100% of the incidents. And this is based on over 15,000 lithium metal cells. When it comes to AI models for safety, we don't really need very, very large data sets. Rather, we need diverse data sets that are decent size and have a good balance between positive and negative signals. So we've demonstrated this for lithium metal cells, and then we're going to apply this to lithium ion cells. And our AI for manufacturing and AI for safety models are chemistry agnostic. So what does all this mean for our business? It's quite simple. AI pulls in revenue earlier. And not only AI allows us to pull in revenue earlier, it allows us to address much larger markets. Originally, when we focused on just lithium metal cells, we expected EV revenue to come in mid-2026. And then we announced UAM. So that pulled in revenue earlier to mid-2025. And then we announced drones, and that pulled in revenue even earlier to early 2025. But now with AI for both lithium ion and lithium metal, not only we can pull in revenue as early as this quarter, Q4 of 2024, we're also able to address a much broader range of markets: storage, robotics, drones, UAM, and EV. So AI for us is definitely good for business. Our ultimate vision is to build an ecosystem for energy transition, consisting of AI, energy, and consumption, where we use molecular universe to develop new materials for energy transition: solar, batteries, fuel cells, carbon capture, which then provide power to consumptions, data centers, EV, UAM, and robots, which then generate more data that further train our AI development. We are very excited about this convergence of energy transition and AI. And this is the future of SES AI. And this is also why we're going all in on AI. Our mission is to accelerate the world's energy transition through material discovery and battery management. Thank you very much. There are 100 billion molecules in the universe that could be used for our energy transition, including batteries for grid, electric cars, flying cars, robots, drones, and AI compute centers. However, people don't realize how long it takes to develop a new battery technology. It could take 10 years from R&D to A sample, to B sample, to C sample, before it gets to commercial production. And we're often trapped with the same set of material discovered 30 years ago. But we can change all this with AI. The mission of SES AI is to accelerate material discovery for energy storage. SES AI, we started in 2012 to develop an ultra-high energy density battery called lithium-metal battery. It turned out to be one of the toughest battery chemistries out there, and we were able to successfully enter automotive A sample and then B sample programs. When we first switched focus from manufacturing batteries to AI for material discovery, many people didn't get it. They would ask, "Aren't you a battery company? Why are you doing AI?" The core breakthroughs to batteries and most other energy transition applications are rooted in small molecules. And many companies can build batteries, but no one can use AI to accelerate material discovery like we can. And we have the best and most complete end-to-end capabilities: human domain expertise, large and accurate databases, AI and ML modeling and chemistry simulations, molecular synthesis and electrolyte formulation, and cell testing capabilities. And if we can develop an AI agent for material discovery, its impact would far exceed just lithium metal batteries. Apply to all batteries and beyond. Carbon capture, solar cells, and hydrogen storage.
We soon realized that in order to build the AI agent which can outperform the best human scientists, we need to have databases of astronomical size and scale which do not exist there. Such a database should include physical and chemical properties of over 100 billion small molecules. In other words, we need to build a molecular universe. For example, the energy, force, hormonal levels of single molecules, the solubility of salts in solvents, the miscibility among solvent molecules, as well as interfacial reactions between electrodes and electrolytes.
To build up the molecular universe and screen the big chemical space, we could do it 1,000 years without new tools. But with advanced computational chemistry and advanced hardware and machine learning models, we could do it 1 year. We knew we couldn't do it alone, so we partnered with NVIDIA, including their accelerated computing software and the latest GPU, help achieve a speed up of more than 100 times.
In one example, we used 40 positive labels, which means we know that the molecule works well as an electrolyte. And we built that data set of 40 positive labels out of 38 public molecules and 2 molecules that SES developed internally. And we mapped the properties and features of those molecules onto a small molecular universe of about 100,000 total molecules, which is only 1/1,000,000th of the true molecular universe, which is about 100 billion molecules in size. After training an AI model on that small molecular universe, that model was able to recommend to us thousands of molecules, some of which were successfully synthesized at our electrolyte foundry. And so far, at least one has improved lithium metal battery cycle life by 20% compared to the best human-developed molecules.
What we have done in lithium metal is only the first success example. We have also improved silicon lithium ion, low temperature performance, and lithium iron phosphate, lithium ion grid storage cycle life. With the power of supercomputing and AI, we can explore deeper in our molecular universe and discover new materials to power our energy transition.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's panel discussion, AI Accelerated Materials Discoveries for Energy-Related Technologies. My name is Yan, the Executive Director at Volta Foundation. It's an honor to serve as your moderator for this exciting and timely conversation today. As we stand at the intersection of two transformative forces, AI and energy storage, the opportunities to revolutionize materials discovery are immense. AI has the potential to accelerate scientific and commercial breakthroughs, optimize R&D and manufacturing processes, and unlock materials that will be the key driving forces in the future of energy storage and sustainability. So today, I'm thrilled to be joined by 3 esteemed panelists who are leaders in this field, each bringing a unique perspective and wealth of experience that will illuminate the possibilities and challenges of applying AI to energy-related materials discoveries. Without further ado, I'm excited to introduce today's panelists, who will share with us their insights and visions on the latest advancements in batteries, AI, and the future of energy storage technologies. So with us, we have Professor Jeff Dahn from Dalhousie University. Welcome, Professor Dahn.
Hello.
We have Professor Shirley Meng. She is a professor at the University of Chicago. She serves as the chief scientist at the Argonne National Labs, as well as the director of the Energy Storage Research Alliance. Welcome, Professor Meng.
Hi.
Also with us is Dr. Kang Xu, the CTO at SES AI.
Hello.
And we have Dr. Qichao Hu, the CEO at SES AI.
Hello.
And first, I'd like to invite each panelist to share a couple of minutes of perspective on today's topic. So first, I'd like to start with Jeff.
Okay, thank you. So energy storage is going to be very huge in the future as we move more and more towards renewable energy. There's many ways to store energy, and batteries are one of those. But we shouldn't lose sight of the other energy storage methods that are also very good. Pumped hydroelectric is very, very good. If you're going to use the energy as heat, you can store it as heat. You don't need to store it as electricity. So don't try to store it the way you're going to use it. Now, going back to the battery space, it's been estimated that we will need to deploy a fleet of about 250 terawatt hours of batteries in the future to store energy from solar and wind. That's just a massive number of batteries. Today, we produce about 1 terawatt hour per year of lithium-ion batteries. So when you think about it, to get to that scale, whatever kind of batteries you're making need to be made of abundant materials, and hopefully they'll last for a very long time. For example, if they last 50 years, you'd only have to make 5 terawatt hours every year to maintain this fleet of 250 terawatt hours. So for me, affordable, sustainable, and long life are the things that are really important in the future of energy storage.
Thank you, Jeff. Next up, I'd like to invite Shirley to give her perspective.
Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here. I will be talking a little bit about the newly established Energy Storage Research Alliance, short-term ESRA. ESRA actually is established this year with the funding from the Office of Science in the Department of Energy. And in this newly established hub, we really emphasize the importance of discovery and innovation for the future energy storage technologies. If we look back the history of batteries for over 200 years, there are few battery chemistries that really impacted the humanity's quality of life. I would say alkaline, Sir Alexander Volta's alkaline batteries and lead acid batteries in the 1860s, and the lithium-ion batteries invented in last century really changed the way how we utilize energy. So I think moving forward, like Professor Dahn said, we have a very important mission about energy transition, where we allow carbon-free sources to support the economic growth of the planet Earth. So we will need to innovate, and we will need to discover new chemistries that allow electrochemically store, convert, and utilize energy. With that mission in mind, ESRA is a hub with 3 national laboratories led by Argonne National Lab, and 12 universities, about 45 PIs. And we are really thinking that how can we do battery research differently from 20, 30 years ago? And the word AI, the word artificial intelligence really show up in our top list. Because I think that with the advancement of the tools, such like AI, of course, in our toolbox, we have a few other things, like the advanced photon source. Argonne just finished the $800 million upgrade for the photon source. We have the world's most brilliant and coherent X-ray. We can look at batteries and many advanced energy devices with a new perspective now. And I would say automation and advanced tools like cryo-electron microscopy, they all not only available in today's laboratory. So in the modern laboratory, I think we very excited to say that now we are with the fresh eyes looking at chemistries like sodium electrochemistries, zinc electrochemistries, and even organic soft materials for energy storage. And this uprising new technology like the solid state or solid state batteries really need good foundational support from the science perspective. So I think ESRA is very well positioned to help the industry and help startups and well-established companies to de-risk some of these emerging new technologies for batteries. So I would say that the future looks very bright. I think there are a lot of things to be accomplished. let's find out if there's another 1 or 2 terawatt-hour scalable battery technologies that the scientists will be able to invent.
All right, that's inspiring. Thank you, Shirley. Next up, I'd like to invite Kang to give his comment.
Thank you. It's a great opportunity for me to speak on this topic. Actually, I have been thinking about this since I retired from National Lab and joined the SES, which really broadens my horizon and my perspective. If you, as Jeff and Shirley brought up, in the future society, we need diversified chemistries, diversified energy storage technologies to meet the demands of our mankind energy future. The core of those technological advancement is the material discovery. We need to find new materials, new molecules, new electrolytes, new electrode materials to support those technology, to support those, enable those energy storage advancement. In the past, if you look at the history of the lithium battery invention history, entire process was not really assisted by computation chemistry. AI machine learning did not exist back then. Nowadays, we are suddenly in the midst of the AI machine learning revolution. Both hardware and software are rapidly developing. Something which cannot be imagined to be feasible 5 years ago now becomes feasible. And we are really at the age of this opportunity of breaking the confinement which was imposed upon us by the availability of the existing materials. We can really explore those molecular universe, those materials design space, which was never accessible to mankind before. And AI machine learning, their advantages, and they are never tired. They can allow us to explore those space in a very systematic and also very exhaustive manner, which is never possible before. This is really exciting era we are in.
Thank you, Kang, and thank you, Jeff and Shirley, for sharing these insightful perspectives in your opening comments. Next, I have prepared a few questions for each of you. So to start, Shirley, given your expertise in electrolyte materials across all 3 phases, liquid, solid, and gas, as well as your extensive experience in materials characterizations, what is your opinion on the future trends and directions for new materials discoveries?
I think that's a very big questions. I would say, yes, our group had the fortune to explore all 3 phases, liquefied gas, all solid state like ceramics, as well as the non-aqueous liquid electrolyte, organic based. I would say that, in my opinion, for electrolyte science is probably the most exciting things in the last few years that showed the differentiations in the performance and the safety of today's battery technologies. I think lithium-ion chemistry benefits a lot from the discoveries and characterizations done with our community, always reporting the how SEI look like, solid electrolyte interface, cathode electrolyte interface look like. What is lacking, in my opinion, is that we don't have a very, the kind of database where the scientists can really benchmark what we have discovered, because there's a lot of varieties terms. I think I lost track of localized high concentration electrolyte, weakly solvated or weakly interacted. Yeah, so I think it's probably a time where a good theory framework needs to be developed so that we will have some kind of predictabilities in terms of the electrolyte science. And there's always this dream that the scientists can unify that how we predict liquid electrolyte and then polymeric electrolyte and solid state electrolyte. I think those very fundamental science questions remain to be answered. That how ion transport behave differently when they're in the liquid phase, in the polymeric organic phases or in the ceramic phases. And I think the scientists really are grouping together now and try to solve this grand challenge. I think that to understand how electrolyte and electrode interface look like remain to be the top priority in the research. And the difficulty now is that our battery performance efficiency already is above 99. Now, with Professor Dahn's call for batteries last for 1 million miles, I think we need to go to 99.999 efficiency. So that make the interface characterization even more challenging. The selectivity, sensitivity, accuracy, all of those demand the scientists to develop new tools and new theoretical frameworks to answer those questions.
Yeah, thank you, Shirley. That's a very insightful, comprehensive answer to a couple of ways forward in electrolyte research. Next up, I have a question for you, Jeff. As a prominent authority and outspoken expert in the battery field, what are some gaps in current commercial practice in battery safety? And perhaps I'd love to hear your comments on how AI can help bridge these gaps. Perhaps there are novel applications such as eVTOL, stationary storage that can benefit from advancements in battery technology.
Yeah, okay. So we'll talk about lithium-ion batteries here. Lithium-ion batteries that are made by the so-called tier 1 manufacturers are very safe. They've been engineered with many levels of safety protection, including ceramic-coated separators, safety venting, and so on. They're very, very safe. And yet, you hear about hundreds of e-bike fires in New York City or in Toronto, and you wonder, these bikes are using, in many cases, batteries from these high-end manufacturers. So what's the deal here? And the problem is that the e-bike battery packs are being assembled with virtually no restriction at all. When you take them apart, you are astounded by sometimes how poor they're constructed. There's no necessity for Underwriter Lab certification for e-bike batteries. There's no restriction on the way these batteries can be charged. They can be charged at -10 degrees C. The battery management systems allow this to happen. That creates plated lithium in the cells, and all kinds of things go bad. So the whole issue of safety goes far beyond the cell maker. It goes to the pack maker, the battery management system. It should detect when the temperature is cold and not allow the system to charge, and so on and so on. It also goes to the regulators too, and the governments who are saying, okay, you want to use an e-bike? It's happened in Toronto. If you want to put an e-bike on our transit system, you can't do it from November to April because we're afraid that you've been charging your battery in the cold, right? So these are the gaps. The gaps are not necessarily with the cell maker. They're all across the system. Now, how can AI play a role in battery safety? Well, I'm not sure where the biggest gaps are. Right? I've just pointed out where a lot of gaps are. But at the fundamental cell safety level, that's where AI may play a role, where you can find, combinations of electrolytes and electrode materials that just show very, very slow reactivity and turn out to be much, much safer. So I'm not exactly sure how this will turn out over the time, but I'm extremely excited to see what can come forward from this, AI applied to the battery space that Kang Xu is really promoting in molecular universe. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. That's very insightful, and just pointing out that there are many gaps in our industry and many opportunities to solve them. All right, next up, Kang, I have a question for you. So you are recognized for your work in electrolyte materials and interfaces. Do you believe that AI can resolve most challenges in lithium metal battery chemistry, perhaps by illuminating the way to ideal electrolytes and interfaces? As well as how about AI for other energy storage technologies like sodium ion or silicon anodes?
Thank you. To answer that question, let me quickly follow up what Jeff just pointed out. There are many gaps across the entire system in terms of safety. I want to emphasize that SES earlier this year have applied this OIN on AI. And one of the approach included there is AI for safety, besides AI for manufacturing and AI for science, which is what I'm leading now. I do believe that fundamentally we can solve this issue by not only discovering the new materials on the fundamental material level, but also on the system level, where we can effectively detect the hazard before that happens, many cycles before that happens. But to implement that onto the end product before the product goes to the end user, we need not only the scientists, but also the policymakers, but also the intervention from the on the decision maker on the politics level. We all need to together to synchronize our efforts to make the end product of which contains battery safer. Back to the lithium metal battery, which is the most challenging anode chemistry in the entire universe. There's no other, because that's the first metal you come across on the periodic table. In the past, when people discover new materials, that's basically just test, trial and error. There was very little rational design involved. And with this new AI machine learning technology popping up, emerging in front of us, is that we can finally apply some of our technology, our knowledge, our fundamental understanding, and enable the rational design. So I mentioned that in current years, there's a rapid revolutionary advancement in both hardware and software. We are proud, ACS is very proud to team up with NVIDIA, Supermicro, Crusoe. Their help not only help us in terms of the hardware, the GPU can accelerate, for example, the DFT calculation by over 20 times, but also the algorithm, the software package that they provide can further increase the speed up to 15 times. So combining those both hardware and software advancement, we can map out the 100 billion to 1 trillion molecular universe within reasonable time and cost. And those unprecedented chemical property database can allow us to train the very smart AI agents, very smart machine learning models. And during the repeated reiteration, the model becomes smarter and smarter. And it helps us to design the final ideal electrolytes, which does not form, I would not say no SEI, but very minimized SEI required, and very safe and long cycle life. And personally, I hold the opinion that there is ideal electrolytes there which can meet all these very demanding requirements.
Yeah, thank you, Kang. I think that's very insightful about there being a lot of room for improvement on the electrolyte interfaces front and the potential for AI to lead us to those advancements. Okay, so next I have some questions from the audience. So these questions are for everyone on the panel here. So first up, simple one, to predict the future. How close is the goal of $100 per kilowatt hour batteries to being achieved?
I'll take that. It's done. It's done.
This is even lower than that.
It's $50 a kilowatt hour now.
$50.
That's right. Yeah, it depends as well. It's a longer answer to this question. Depends on the chemistry and where the batteries are made. Is that right?
Yeah, so yeah, for lithium ion, it is done. And I do want to emphasize that for automotive applications, the price range $100 can make fundamental changes to the EV industry. But while we are looking at the grid applications. I think the system level installation cost still dominate over the battery cell cost. I think that's a different game that we are playing here. And that's where sodium batteries, aqueous batteries came into play. And I think the price target we were given was much lower. And I'm not sure the race to the bottom is a positive thing. That's just my own opinions, because I would say that electric vehicles are much cleaner and much more efficient than the internal combustion engine cars. I actually, think that given the value of the minerals in the batteries, are we really, all racing to the lower cost? I think all of us have to adjust our mindset that batteries will be an asset in our life. If you own the batteries, you have an asset. So do you really want your asset always to go lower in the values? So I think these are the questions that I really want to ask the entire, I would say, society, that when we have all these mining and production and recycling process in place for the advanced batteries, I think the battery deserve a higher valuation. And it is really important to emphasize that the future batteries will have implement green mining, green manufacturing, recycling, and we will try to enable true circularities in the battery asset. So I would say that I hope that we are really plateau around $100 per kilowatt hour. That give us a lot of incentives to make good batteries, because the race to the bottom for lower cost is probably the reason why Professor Dahn is finding all these poorly made batteries. I think the mindset of the entire field is really important, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to clarify my thoughts here.
Thank you, Shirley. It's a very good point that cost is one of many factors that we want to optimize in the battery as a product. So thank you, Shirley, for that comment. Okay, next question. This is for the SES folks. This is going to be very fun about cycle life. So the question is, SES has produced high energy density cells, and it looks like one of the remaining concerns is cycle life requirements by the EV OEMs. So as the data is indicating that SES is still working on increasing cycle life, what are some of the things that SES is working on to improve cycle life performance?
Yes, I think both on the material side and then the charge protocol. On the material, as Kang mentioned earlier, we're using both AI to map a large universe of small molecules that could be used for the electrolyte solvents, additives. And then also our human scientists have also made significant improvement on the electrolytes that we have. And then we can significantly improve the cycle life with just better electrolyte. And also, in terms of charge protocols, and we all want fast charge, but we've moved away from constant current, and then we've developed these new charge protocols so that the total time, the net time stays the same, but then you can also improve the cycle life through optimizing the charge protocols.
All right, thank you, Qichao. Yes, thank you for the insights on how to improve cycle life and the strategies there. Okay, a couple more questions about SES from the audience. The next one is, I'm curious how investors should think about how big the addressable market is for AI, and how realistic is it for SES AI to be a leader in this AI space?
Yeah, so we're using AI as a tool. Our final products are still batteries. And then, as I mentioned earlier in my keynote, what AI does is it allows us to address not just lithium metal batteries, but all lithium ion batteries and then sodium batteries. And then, so really the question is, how much larger is lithium ion and sodium compared to just lithium metal? And then basically we're talking about the total addressable market, including storage, EV, UAM, robots, drones, basically everything and anything that could use the battery Now we can improve the safety, the cycle life, the performance with AI. We're using AI as a tool, but this tool really allows us to address all and any application that would need a battery. This is fundamentally different from before.
I see. So this is not just lithium metal, but also sort of battery, all the applications that are using batteries from different chemistries. I see. Okay, in terms of applications, the next question is, how big do you think SES AI can be in grid storage? We are seeing a bit of an arms race for nuclear power with data centers needing more power for computes. Is this demand something that SES is meeting somehow? And if so, how do you play in this market?
Yeah, so if you look at the current North American grid storage, right, most of that is still in grid, solar, wind generation. And then even if we use nuclear, I think nuclear is still for base load. We will still need other sources of generation. And then a new demand that we're seeing a lot that's actually rising very quickly is data centers. And then today, data center storage is still very, very small compared to grid storage. But this small market is actually growing very fast. So Bitcoin mining, AI compute, all these rising demand in compute need to build data centers. And then a lot of these data centers are built in places that have cooling and cheap electricity. So these are in cold places. And then Jeff mentioned earlier, when you cycle these batteries and then charge them in cold places, you have lithium plating. And then these batteries don't last as long as if they cycle in warm places. So we can address the cycle issue, the cycle life issue of lithium-ion batteries, especially in cold places, by coming out with new electrolyte to address lithium plating, and also optimize how we charge the battery so that they actually last longer.
All right, thank you, Qichao. That's a very thoughtful answer to the question. I'm excited for this next question because we have some groundbreaking thought leaders on this panel, and I think this question is perfect for this group. So the next one is, what challenges in battery technology do you believe are not widely known but hold significant promise for advancements? So what challenges are not widely known but it's important to think about?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Yes, please, Shirley.
So there is a field that I have had the pleasure working in for the last decade, which is called batteries for IoT. I believe the field of Internet of Things, things that are very tiny, any shape, could be flexible, could be not flexible, but very hidden. The IoT batteries, I believe that the field of IoT is hindered, their growth is hindered because the lack of suitable batteries. So from my perspective, is a lot of the batteries with hard casing has created a lot of challenges for the IoT batteries. Yeah, I know this is a little bit, I guess outside this energy transition priorities, but I think this is the area that is being under evaluated. Now, for the grid storage, I just want to say what I learned for the things that people are really not looking at is that a bit like solar panels, you know how solar panels price has come down dramatically over the last decades. I think battery people did such a wonderful job. The cost come down so well, but the implementation, I think only California grid really utilized so well about the cost reductions because the policy, the public support going forward with trying on the storage mechanism with batteries. I think we still have a long way to go. So I just think that on the grid storage, we really have to have some brilliant minds or people think about out of box to think about how to do the scaling. So I think that's the area that I'm not sure scientists will be able to answer those challenges, but I hope there will be some very innovative people, entrepreneurs or engineers out there thinking about this scaling challenge.
Yeah, if I can comment here, I think for me, you have to realize that the planet is warming. It's not going to stop. No matter what we do, it's not going to stop for some time. And that means we have a need for batteries that can operate in hot climates and last a long time. You know, as an example, in India and Africa, there's a lot of two-wheelers, three-wheelers. They all have air-cooled battery packs. But the air is 45 degrees C. You know, you can't cool much with 45 degrees C air. And all the battery technologies that we know, except for solid state and polymer electrolyte, they all suffer at higher temperature. And at the same time, you know, you also want batteries to operate in the cold. So when you think about it, the need for a wide temperature range battery, you know, from 80 degrees C all the way down to minus 40 is needed. And this is a big challenge because the solid state and polymer can't do the low temperature. Liquid has trouble with the high temperature. So to get the whole temperature range is a big challenge.
Okay, I want to follow up with what Jeff and Shirley just said. I agree that on the system level, for the battery that can work in the wide temperature range could be a very critical challenge for the next generation of the chemistries where we are working on. I want to more emphasize on the materials level because so far the building blocks we are using are very confined. I might have, repeated this over and over again that there are only about a few hundred unique chemicals used as electrolyte components and only a few thousand electrolyte formulations reported so far in the open literature. And what's less known to the public is that among those, actually, most of the work are still concentrated on the solvents, on the molecular compounds, very little on the ionic compounds, which is, the salt. For example, the usable salt anion is only on the order of a few thousands, like 20, 30 maximum. So I think in the future, one of the key breakthroughs should be coming from the new anion structure, a new salt. Discovery of such a useful salt, we are not only able to benefit lithium-metal battery, lithium-ion battery, but also aqueous battery. Because in aqueous battery, what confines the application is the electrochemical stability window. Water decomposes in the window of 1.23 volts. In order to expand that, in the past we used very specific salts such as TFSI. We can do 3 volts or sometimes nearly approaching 4 volts. However, those salts are very expensive. We have to use those at very high concentration. Is there an anion existing there that we can use at a very low cost and effectively form ACI in the aqueous media? That's the question which is, remains very little noticed by researchers so far. And that's the challenge. I think that in the future, people should pay more attention to the discovery of the new anion structures.
That's great. Very interesting comments from all the panelists. Okay, next up, we're diving back to commercial, financial, and politics. So, question from the audience. We have seen a lot of announcements about other battery companies going out of business and others forming JVs with players in the space. What do you think about this trend? And is SES AI a potential partner with any of these companies?
I can take that. I think 12 years ago when I started this, A123 went bankrupt, and then now Northvolt. So we do go through these cycles, and then it is really hard to build battery manufacturing at scale. And I think so. We we do battery manufacturing. We make lithium metal cells, not at the super large scale that the tier ones do, but we make them for UAM, for drones, for EV applications. But going forward, we do want to partner with the tier ones that are already very good at making high quality, safe batteries, lithium ion and lithium metal. And then so that they can manufacture the batteries, but then we get the data. Because I think at the end of the day, what's valuable are the data, the data for the molecular properties, AF science, the data for the manufacturing process. And then we estimated, for example, this year, 2024, there will be 17 million cars, EVs. And if you assume each car has about 1,000 battery cells, so that's 17 billion cells, right? And then each cell has 3,000 quality checkpoints. We're talking about 50 trillion manufacturing data points. We want that. We want the data points. And then we're more than happy to partner with the tier ones on the manufacturing. So yeah, I think you will start to see a new business model popping up where companies will focus on design using AI or using very, very smart talent on new materials, new cell design, and then partner with very large, very capable, and good quality tier one manufacturers.
Right, yeah. Thank you, Qichao. Next up is a very direct question for an investor. What is your plan to get the stock price back up to $1 to meet the stock exchange listing requirements? I think that's the one for Qichao.
Well, so we do have a few good news coming up. And I think when we first announced this AI, people didn't really get it right away. But now that we are showing good progress, we've mapped a very sizable molecular universe. We've found new molecules that actually improve performance of real batteries, lithium metal, lithium ion. So in the next few weeks, we're going to announce these breakthroughs, and I think it will go back up. I have no concerns about that, and we have a very clear plan for how to implement this AI strategy, and we have enough cash to execute on the plans. So not concerned about that.
Thank you, Qichao. Okay, the next one is the last question from the audience is about politics. So we just had an election in the US, and the president-elect seems to be less enthusiastic about EVs compared to prior administrations. How do you see your customers' ability and desire to pursue EV platforms after the change in administration? And will this impact any of your current joint JV relationships?
Maybe Shirley can take that first. You're from National Lab.
Well, I think I would take Qichao's ask. Yeah, so I think it's very important to realize that, I would say some of these Inflation Reduction Act policies are written in the law. I think I hope people realize this is something the Congress has put in the law. So there's a due process that if any big changes are going to be made. And I also think 2 years later, we are re-electing some of our Congress members. Yeah, so that's where I would say there need to be some confidence in the United States system. I think that the states that widely supportive of those kind of industrial policies have already enjoyed the benefits. We're seeing huge investment flows into Midwest, into the southern states, where manufacturing plants are being, not just in the planning stage, they are being executed with the right milestones, the good milestones. I think, as Qichao mentioned, the fall of North vote is a good alert for everyone. But I also want to say growth of 20% per year for consecutive few years is simply not sustainable. A field has to go through consolidations and purge out some of the less effective things and make the effective measures more effective. I think this process is actually healthy. And those who survived this consolidation and reoptimization process will grow even stronger. And I think this is what a healthy industry, a healthy field should look like. So I personally have confidence that I think the EV and more importantly, the energy transition, regardless of how much government support we get, I feel that the industrial leaders and the general public are getting very supportive of those efforts. And I'm on the fundamental science side, and we certainly hope the Republican government will continue its tradition, because in the past, the Republican government has always been very supportive of fundamental research that focus more on the science. So I think, given currently our battery industry, I can safely call it $1 trillion industry. I would say, yeah, we are relying on the internal resilience of the industry to, handle this administration change. And I don't know if Qichao agree. I think we are cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I'm actually quite optimistic about the market. And for example, Hyundai continues to invest quite heavily in EV in the US. And then also, like Shirley mentioned, we are seeing a reshoring of manufacturing jobs in solar panels, and then now wafers, and then battery containers, modules, cells, electrolyte chemicals. So a lot of companies are coming to the US and North America to build these manufacturing jobs, partially for the government incentives, but no one really builds a business based on government incentives, mostly because there is a huge market need. And also, I think under the new administration, there is a rising demand for Bitcoin. He's big on crypto, and then that requires a lot of computing, and then also AI, and then AI. That's probably, I think AI is one of the biggest strength that US has over other countries. And then so the rise in compute, and also I think the EV market, the battery market is already mature enough that we can weather a market with less subsidy, and also this new compute will create even much higher demand. So I'm actually quite optimistic.
Yeah,
I just want to
challenge. Oh yeah, yes.
I just want to add one short comment that despite any individual politician or individual elected president in the office, I think the general trend of the electrification revolution is irreversible. So I don't have any doubt in that in the big picture.
Yes, I think we all agree on that. There are fundamental factors that are driving the growth of the battery industry that is independent of the day-to-day politics of the moment. And so a very, very good point about that. Okay, so as we wrap up, I have a final question for each of the panelists. What is one key takeaway message that each of you would like the audience to remember about the future of battery technology and the challenges that we're facing today? One key takeaway. Let's start with Jeff, Shirley, Kang, and Qichao.
Well, I would like to say that battery technology getting better and better all the time. So, for example, if you have an electric vehicle, in a few years, you'll be able to practice what's called vehicle-to-grid operation, where you can leave your car plugged in and charge when the sun is shining and the wind is blowing, and during the evening, deliver power back to the grid and be paid for doing that. And the batteries are good enough that you won't even have to worry about wearing them out. They'll support many, many thousands of cycles and millions of miles of driving and enable vehicle to grid. And this is really exciting because it will be a situation where utilities won't have to buy so many batteries for storing energy. They can rely on EV drivers to help store energy that's needed. So I'm really excited as batteries get better and better for the opportunities and new opportunities that they allow.
I love that. Yeah. Longer life batteries in EVs and vehicle to grid. That's great. Shirley?
Yeah, I think it's very clear that for the energy transition, we will need about at least 200 terawatt hour, if not 300 terawatt hour batteries. Today, lithium ion production is over 1 terawatt hour. And then I would say we are 2% job done. So I mean, takeaway message is that I really call for all the talented people and also the companies who are currently not in the battery field or battery supply chain, especially those major chemical companies, equipment companies, please pay attention. Yeah, we are going to grow continuously, and there is no doubt 200 terawatt hour batteries minimum. And I hope that many successful players will reach success and prosperity while helping the planet Earth to energy transit.
Thank you, Shirley. Kang?
As I have pointed out that in the past 30 years or even longer term, what we have been doing is to take from the existing building blocks provided by the chemical industry to design the new electrolyte materials or the new battery chemistry. My takeaway message for the audience is that in the future, this trend should be reversed. We should point out design, identify the useful chemical, and then hand those to the chemical industry to scale up. That really help us to break, the confinements that we have been, operating underneath, and that really can help us to reach the real useful, real breakthrough materials.
Thank you, Kang. Qichao?
Yes, I think there's a quote I remember in science discovery, a lot of times it's like finding a needle in a haystack, right? And then it's based on luck. So what if we can invent a giant magnet that can just pull the needles out of the haystack? And I think this giant magnet is basically AI. And then Kang mentioned at the material level, there's 100 billion to a billion molecules and other properties. And then EV, 70 million cars, that's 17 billion cells. And then Shirley mentioned storage is 1,000 times bigger than that. I don't even know the name for that, but basically just a lot of data. And then how do we make sense of the data? And then how do we build this giant magnet so that we can pull the solution out for the challenges that we have? And I think there is an enormous opportunity in this convergence of AI and energy transition. So it's a really exciting time.
Thank you, Qichao, for that very vivid description for the goals of AI in the battery industry. Okay, and with that, I'd like to thank all of the panelists for participating today. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to our incredible panelists for sharing their excellent expertise and insights, and to all of you for joining us today for our discussion on AI-accelerated materials discovery for energy-related technologies. It's clear that AI is not just a tool, but a catalyst, reshaping how we approach the discovery and the development of batteries, materials critical to the energy transition. On behalf of our team, thank you again for your participation. If you have any questions that we did not have time to answer, please feel free to reach out to SES via the inquiry form on their website at ses.ai. We look forward to continuing these important conversations and seeing how this community drives innovation forward. Have a great day.